Hi, everybody, and welcome to Volume 1 of LockedIn. This is my personal newsletter where I'll be sharing insights and resources for my day to day life, just running an agency, doing freelance work, being a consultant. So, if you're any one of those, I think this is going to be really helpful. If you want to get my key insight, make sure that you use this link and you sign up to my newsletter. There's one special insight in there, which I'll only be sharing in that version of the newsletter. Apart from that, if you want to sign up, my next one is going to be really good. It's going to be about basically everything that I learned last year. This is more about just the last couple of months or beginning of 2025, but my next one's going to be really good. So make sure you sign up for that. With that being said, let me jump into my first insight. So my first insight is about getting the fundamentals right. And this involves getting sleep, eating right, staying focused, being proactive. A lot of times I think we try to look for false positives or patterns which don't really exist. You might try to wake up super early and you think that's going to help your productivity, and it might, or you're giving yourself so many different pieces of advice how you're going to improve your productivity. Once again, when I say you, I mean me. You have all these sort of, you could almost call them superstitions, when really all you have to do in order to perform at your best, or in the past when I have performed at my best, it's about getting sleep, eating the right food, staying focused, being proactive. If you're sleepy or if you're tired, you're not really going to perform your best. It's gonna it's gonna tamper with your creativity. It's gonna tamper with your overall resilience because you need a lot of that when you're working hard. You need to stay focused and do all those things. And I think sleep is a really big part of it. Getting 8 hours is super duper important. Eating right is the other big thing. When I'm eating junk food, when I'm eating food from outside, when I'm not eating the right things, that tends to sap my energy, so I can't really perform or work at the level that I want. Staying focused, not spending too much time on social media. But once again, it's like eating junk food, right? It fills up your mind with low calorie or low value calories in your mind, and your mind only has so much space. And then lastly, just about being proactive. This is one of my later advice as well. So be proactive, not kicking the can down the road. Basically the same thing. Yeah, just being proactive, the thinking about what's going to happen next and just making sure that you're well positioned to take on whatever is going to come next. Whenever you take time or whenever I take time to do that, I think it really helps me out in the future. Second point that I've learned the last couple months is to try and go for things that really light people up. Uh, look, Looking at where I'm getting positive feedback, because I think that's one of the first signs that you can really take on. So, for example, right now, I think a lot of people are really lighting up when I'm talking about AI and AI search. So instead of taking a backseat, I should try to lean into that a little bit more. Try to learn about ways where I can impact or get insights where I can really share with people. So really taking those cues. Apart from that, I'm working on another project right now, which is really like getting a lot of positive feedback. And I don't think that should be understated. I think a lot of times I tend to follow the pattern where I'm just like, hey, I think I know what's right, and I'm only going to do that. And I tend to ignore external feedback. But in retrospect, I think those are really good first signals for validating that you're going in the right direction or giving you ideas that you need to go in this direction instead. So yeah, going after things that light people up, that's pretty important right now. Setting a compelling vision for the day. Um, really thinking about what's going to make you happy that day, having some variety, thinking about how things are going to fall into place. I think when I start the day by visualizing what's going to happen throughout the day. So, hey, I woke up at this time. So my compelling vision is I'm going to get this done. I'm going to get this done. I'm going to hit the gym. I'm going to go to sauna and I'm going to get to bed by this time. Setting, I don't know if that's a compelling vision for everybody, but that's a pretty compelling vision for me. Getting a good days of work, having some variety, working my fitness, these are all things that are really important to me. And when I feel as if I set that vision at the beginning of the day, things tend to go a lot better than when I just jump into it and I'm not really, I'm just trying to get the most amount of work done instead of setting like a really compelling vision that I want to work towards. And this doesn't have to happen on like a lifetime basis. Like you can have a lifetime vision or a 10-year vision, but you can also have a vision for your day and how you want that to turn out. The next thing is breaking limiting beliefs. This honestly could have been the key insight. And this is something I recently really learned. I've been hearing about limiting beliefs for the last 10 years. I got into self development in university. So ever since then, I've been taught about limiting beliefs, but I don't think it's really hit me until now. And really what triggered it was when I was trying to set a compelling vision for my day. Really, like, I didn't wake up on time, right? So I had a plan for my day the day before. So the night before, I had a plan for what my day was going to look like. Unfortunately, I didn't wake up, but that doesn't mean your entire day is ruined. That's a limiting belief. Like, you missed the bus and you're late somewhere. That doesn't mean the entire event is ruined. Um, Something doesn't go to plan or exactly the plan. That doesn't mean things can't still work out. And I think I tend to fall into this trap where I'm just like, if something goes wrong, or even if something as small as I don't wake up on time, like I was supposed to wake up at 8 and I woke up at 8:30 or 9, I'm like, oh my God, my entire day is just a flop. That's a limiting belief. You could still turn this around. Or this happens to me a lot when I'm going to events. Maybe I just set unrealistic standards for myself as to what time I want to get there. And maybe I misgauge as to how long it takes me to get ready and go places. Sometimes I'm entering events with a very negative mindset where I'm just like, oh, I should have been here 30 minutes earlier. And if I came here 30 minutes earlier, everything would be perfect. Whereas in reality, that's not really it, right? It's a limiting belief. And I think if you just lock in your fundamentals, you'll be good, right? It's just about staying focused on the fundamentals. So that's what I learned about breaking limiting beliefs. I refuse to get mad at myself. It's a bad idea to publish this. This is something I've learned and relearned for a very long time. I linked a video from Matthew Robbins. We are just discussing about self-development. So I linked that video, and I think it's really good because he's just, it's a choice. You're choosing to be mad at yourself. You're made at myself, mad at myself. Shoot. Okay. Yeah. It's basically a choice. You're choosing to get upset at yourself. And if you're choosing to get upset at yourself, you can choose not to get upset at yourself. There's another really good quote that I just recently read, which was, "I promise to stop hating my enemy, so I stop hating myself." I'm not this negative in real life, but like, just, just in terms of just really focusing and not getting upset at myself, and really learning that's not something that's going to push me towards what I want. The front view, like in a car, your front mirror is a lot bigger than your back because that's where you're supposed to be looking. That's another quote that I cut off of Instagram. But yeah, so just like, I refuse. I'm not going to get mad at myself. I don't care. And I think I'm still working on it a lot, but I think I've gotten better at it. Take what's in front of you. So this is something I've been, once again, relearning for a really long time. I think it's good to set a vision for what you ultimately want and really understanding those things. But it's not good to neglect if there's an opportunity in front of you. I think, especially in your early days, you should try to take it. Like, you shouldn't try to overthink it too much. You shouldn't be too much, hey, this is not the perfect situation, so I'm not going to go into it. So that's what that basically means. Take what's in front of you. Did this really help me change my life for how a very long time ago? Because a very long time ago, I was very much, hey, it needs to happen like this. And a lot of times that it doesn't go exactly towards planned. And sometimes the opportunity that's in front of you might be the best one. So that's what that basically means. Focus on having a great day. Once again, ties in with some of the other messaging that I have going on, but you can focus on getting the most done in a day. You can focus on a whole bunch of other things. You can also focus on having a great day. And that basically translates into thinking about what a great day looks like. For me, it's working hard, having some time for deep work, having some variety, some physical activity, maybe taking a walk, maybe listening to an audiobook or listening to a podcast or something like that. So just like a little bit of variety. I don't want to do the same thing the entire day. I don't think those days tend to be very productive or meaningful at the end of the day because you only have so much capacity to work. But yeah, so like, just in the beginning of the day, just thinking about, hey, how can I have a great day? What does that exactly look like? And really trying to focus on that, because for a very long period of my life, I would just focus on getting the most amount of work done. That was my intention, and I achieved it a lot of times. But it doesn't lead to a great life, to be honest with you. Some days you have to work and hard the entire day. That's totally fine. But most of your days, you try to focus on having a great day. What would be more epic? Yeah. So I learned this from Alex Hormozy. He was just like, he was talking about like, how do you make tough decisions or how do you make big decisions? And he was just like, I will always do whatever will have the most epic story, which is really interesting. And I recently applied to something that happened in my agency. There was a client they ran into a difficult position. They were not able to pay us for a pretty long period of time. And I was just thinking, like, what do I do in this situation? I could be pissy about it. I could create a fuss. I could just completely give in and just be like, oh, yeah, sure, no worry, it happens. I could do a whole bunch of different things, right? But I chose what would be more epic. The most epic thing that can really happen is we continue working with them, we turn their business around, and they're able to pay us. That would be so epic. And we get a case study out of it. And that's ultimately how I made that decision. I'm still working with the company. They haven't paid us. It's fine. They will. I trust it. But yeah, that's my entire thing. Like, what would be like, that's how I made that sort of decision. I just thought about what is the most epic outcome that can happen in this situation. The most epic outcome that can happen in this situation is if I can continue to remain focused and really help this company turn their entire business around by just leveraging SEO. And that's the decision I took. And even if we don't get paid for that, but it would be epic if I'm able to turn this around. That would be really great. Don't fill your mind with low value. Yeah. So like ultimately it's like eating, right? So you can just have junk food all day and you're gonna get filled, but it's like very low value, high calories, and it's the equal like the equivalent of that is like filling your mind with Instagram and YouTube and all the politics that are happening and all this other stuff that's happening. I don't want to discredit a lot of the politics stuff, but a lot of the random Instagram, just funny watching clips and stuff. It's low value, right? And your brain only has so much space, just like your stomach only has so much space. So you don't want to be filling your mind with just low value content. Like you want to be filling your mind with good stuff. And ideally, sometimes not even filling it all the way up so that you have capacity to, if an opportunity comes along that you can take on, and it will help you think a lot better if it's not all the way full. I'm just going to focus on providing value. So yeah, a lot of changes have happened to the business, but this is ultimately, it comes back to providing value, right? So it comes back to thinking about how your unique skills and capabilities can ultimately provide value. I don't think anyone's looking for anything else. And if you are able to do that, then you're going to stay in business. And if you're not able to do that, and you're not able to make those adjustments, it's going to be a lot harder. Increase your surface area for luck. You have no chance of getting lucky if you sit on the couch all day, right? It's just increasing your surface, your luck surface area. Once again, I found this from maybe Alex Ramosi, maybe somebody else, but this is basically about, so look, you have choices in life, right? So you can choose to sit in front of the TV and watch a TV show, or you can spend that time doing a course. When you're at the gym, you can choose to listen to music, or maybe you can choose to listen to a podcast. You can choose to do a whole bunch of different things, and you can choose to do a whole bunch of other things, right? That's ultimately how life works. It's decisions. Is just certain decisions, they increase your certain luck surface area. So for example, instead of filling your mind with stand-up comedy, like for example, like you're doing some work, instead of listening to some skit or something, if you listen to a podcast, that's not to say that anyone is, less valuable than the other, but your chances of hearing something that's going to help you out ultimately in life are a lot higher if you listen to that podcast or if you take that course. So that's what this basically means. Increase your surface area for luck, essentially. Going to events, a great way to increase your surface area for luck. And I'm sure there's a whole bunch of others. Worrying doesn't get rid of tomorrow's problem. It only takes away today's peace. Sorry, I gotta edit this again. Worrying doesn't get rid of tomorrow's problems, only today's peace. Um, yeah, it's pretty pointless to worry about stuff or to worry too much about stuff. Ultimately, you can't think yourself into perfect situations. Um, you can only take action, and a lot of the action you're gonna take is imperfect. Um, and that's gonna cause some problems. And if you're just worrying about them, that's where your mind space and your focus and your efforts gonna go, and that's not a good situation. Once again, ties back to a whole bunch of other things that I've already discussed, but just worrying less and focusing more on action. Have some faith. Missing ingredients. I'm not like a religious person. I think this is something that's missing from my life. I tend to be very logical when it comes to things. And not everything is logical. Not everything makes sense. There's things that are happening that are outside of your control, both in the positive direction, negative direction. And I think if you don't have faith, if you don't believe that good things can happen, you tend to make bad decisions in the short term. So yeah, I want to build more faith. Whatever that looks like, that would be really good. Even from, and I'm talking about like from a business point of view. So like just having a little bit of faith, believing that good things can happen and like positive things can reverberate later on and things in the back end are working in your favor. Even if it's not true, I don't think it hurts. I really don't. I think having a little bit of faith is good. Being logical is also really good, but having a little bit of faith is also good. Be proactive, which is basically the same thing as this. Yeah, be proactive. Stop kicking the can down the road. I tend to do this. I want to, because there's so many problems that are like directly in front of you, but you tend to come across things which are just like, hey, if I do this now, it's going to really help me out in the future. And that's basically what I mean. That this is like about having the difficult conversations with people. This is about if you're, once again, experiencing an issue with somebody, bringing it up, not just letting it stew, because ultimately you're going to have to pay a bigger price down the road. So if you're proactive, even when it comes to getting your groceries and doing meal prep and all this other stuff, like you don't want to do that during the week. Ultimately, it's going to help you a lot. If you just make a little bit of an effort right now, it's going to ultimately help you out a lot. And so that's what I'm doing right now, trying to be a little bit more proactive, thinking about what are the things that are going to help me out a little bit more in the future. And some of them are just bets. You don't really know if it's going to help you, but you think it might. So yeah, that's what I'm talking about when I say stop kicking the can down the road. I have a couple of videos you can check out, a couple of Instagram. I probably won't do this next time. But yeah, I have a couple of like quotes and stuff that I'm looking at. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about just some of the stuff that's going on in my life, shed a little bit more color as to how the back end is working. So one of the bigger updates, probably the biggest update I would have had in like the last 3 years, I had to let go of most of my team. There's many reasons, but right now I'm working on most of the client deliverables by myself. So I had a pretty sizable team, not humongous, but I had to let go about half of it. I let go of my PM, who I've been with for about 3.5 years, let go of one of my SEO leads, who I've been with for about 2.5 years, and a couple of other roles within the agency. We're still rolling it out. It was due to a non-payment issue, which happens, but I was just over leveraged. And this was a difficult decision, which I had to make in order to keep the company alive. Things are better now, but yeah, that this happens, right? I wasn't expecting it, but it's something that I had to do. That was one of the reasons. There's a couple of other reasons, which, yeah, SEO is changing a lot. I can make the pivots that I want to make. I can make the optimizations that I want to make if I'm running the agency, because that looks very different than doing the work. And I felt like I had to step, take a step down and get in the weeds again and start doing the work myself, or most of the work myself, because that's the only way I'm gonna ultimately make the pivots that I want to make. I can't rely on a team to guide me through what's going on with SEO and AI and marketing and all these other things. Like I can't rely on a team to do that. I have to do that. So that's probably one of the bigger updates. It's unfortunate, but I feel as if it was the right decision. And it's been about 3 weeks now, working a lot, but it's a lot of fun. Like I like doing SEO, so I don't really mind. I took on a Google Ads client after a pretty long time. I'm getting a couple of my friends to help out with it. I got pretty positive feedback on my first campaign that I made. And yeah, I've managed hundreds of thousands of dollars when it comes to Google Ads, but a little while ago. So yeah, really looking forward to what kind of happens there. We're getting all the systems in place. And yeah, looking forward to that. I went to Othership 3 times this year already. It's weird. Like I was so nervous about going to Othership. Like I planned this for about a year because I was just like, I'm nervous. Like I don't think I could do the cold plunge and all this other stuff. So I have a sauna in my building. So I prepped up my tolerance for about 6 months. I overdid it. But yeah, I've been going there. It's a lot of fun. It's really great. I bought a pass. So yeah, that's really great. If you haven't checked it out, it's pretty cool. I attended a Marcus Schultz concert. That was pretty cool. He's one of my friend's favorite artists. I wanted to check him out. It was quite fun. It was actually a lot of fun. I'm currently writing an ebook. This is one of the other big updates. I'm writing an ebook on how to start an agency business. If you've ever read The Motive, I don't remember the author's name, but the book is called The Motive. I'm writing it in a similar stance. It's not an instructional book. It's more of a story about a person who starts a business or an agency business, and it just walks you through in a storytelling format the things that you need to do in order, because just looking back, like I've been doing this for 5 years, like just reflecting on those 5 years, thinking about what I could have done better, what I did right, hearing a lot of other people's stories. So yeah, I'm writing this book. And if you want to be alerted when it comes out, just you can go ahead and subscribe. I think it's going to be a couple more months. I'm about halfway through the first draft, but I was reading it over the last weekend and it's really good. I like it. So yeah, definitely subscribe if you're into that kind of stuff. Being grateful first thing in the morning. So this is another thing that I'm really trying right now. So when I wake up, I try to think of three things that I'm grateful for. Yeah, I guess I don't really know if it's working or not, but I've been doing it for about a month, and I think it's pretty cool. I think we all have a lot to be grateful for, and I want to kind of bring a lot of those things to the front of my mind. I crossed 100, started this channel about a year and a half ago, maybe. And yeah, I was just recording videos. I had someone helping me before. Shout out to Safraz for helping me with all that stuff. But yeah, we posted like 150 videos, a lot slower than I thought I would get to 100 subscribers, but I didn't really try to promote it. I didn't really go out of my way to try to get people to sign up for it or stuff like that. I just wanted the content to speak for itself. And now we're growing at a pretty more rapid rate. I think we have 110 now. I'm creating more longer form videos. I think that's really helping. But yeah, I started as a fun little project. I wanted to record a whole bunch of videos of talking about stuff that's going on in the SEO world and just how I'm dealing with it. So if you haven't subscribed, I'll link it and you can maybe go and subscribe. Buying the dip. So the market is crazy. I have a little bit of investment funds, which I set aside for situations like this. So yeah, just looking into what's going on with the market. This is not financial advice. So taking it at your own risk. But yeah, maybe I'll even list some of the stuff that I bought. I've been buying a lot of, but you could literally buy anything at this point, to be honest with you, just from my perspective. Once again, not financial advice. Uh, but yeah, I've been buying Nvidia. I've been buying a lot of ETFs in the online shopping space, buying a lot of ETFs related to fintech. So that kind of stuff. Like I'm not going to sell any of these for 30 years. So I just want to reduce the risk and just think about what's going to be the most important industries in the next 10, 20, 30 years. It's going to be technology. It's going to be people are going to buy more stuff online. People are going to use there's going to be more advancements when it comes to just fintech and just payment processing, stuff like that. A lot of the people are like, I don't know if this is true or not, but a lot of the people in this world they don't have a bank. Like even in Canada, a lot, like I think there's a lot of people who don't have banks. Once again, I think I read this somewhere a really long time ago. So I think that trend's really going to grow just semiconductors, right? So if you're using ChatGPT and you're using some of these other platforms, like they need processing power, they need semiconductors, they need what NVIDIA is making. So yeah, just buying a whole bunch of NVIDIA stuff. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I also went to the car show. I think I should add that somewhere. That was pretty neat. This is a Bugatti. And then yeah, just some of the stuff that I posted. If you want to join my Slack community, you can do that right here. We have around 60 people. But you need to get vetted by me in order to join it. So you can apply right here. I want to keep this a good group of freelancers, consultants, agency owners, and yeah, just want to make sure that it's really curated and the right people are in it. So you can apply right here. And that's pretty much it.